start Pilates in over a week because I've taken the week off. But I am realizing how my back feels when I don't do yoga and Pilates in over a week. So I decided to give you a class for back pain relief, things that I do to make my back feel better, whether it's after I've had a break from doing my practice or just something different in my life that has upset my back. Slept funny even, being extra tired, feeling a little stressed. A lot of things trigger my back pain. So these are the things that I like to do. It includes a little yoga and Pilates, and the only props I'm going to use are 2 blocks. So let's begin lying on your back, and you can always have your blocks close by. So when you get to your back, be very mindful. You can hold onto your thighs and roll down. Always engage your belly. So one thing we need to think of with our back is that we do keep a little contraction of the abdominal muscles, feeling as deeply as we can, so the part of the belly that's the closest to the back to support it. And then flat forearms. This is really subtle and might be kind of hard to see, so I'm going to try to explain it really well. This is the pelvic clock. So you pretend there's a marble that rests in your navel, and then your body here is a clock. So up toward the sternum is 12 o'clock, the right hip point is 3, the pubic bone is 6, and the left hip point is 9. So using abdominals less than glutes, try to roll your marble from 12 o'clock down to 6 o'clock. So we could squeeze our butt to do this, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking to use the abdominal muscles to move the marble. And try just to think of that. Like, don't think of all the other stuff about it. Just think, are you moving your imaginary marble up and down? Checking on your shoulders and chest, that they're soft and relaxed. Moving with breath, you can breathe into 12, breathe out at 6. And maybe you start breathing in and out through your nose, even though this is more of a Pilates-based exercise, since we're trying to get warm. And then from here, you can start to let it grow. So when you're coming to 12, you may even lift the sacrum slightly off the mat, so that as you're bringing it down, you really work on spinal articulation, back down to 6. So belly rolls it to 12, and then maybe you pick it up a little, and then roll it down. So then you can even start to think of a little more movement when you get down to 6. So you can like arch your low back. You see in my bulky sweatshirt, but the low back comes up, and then it comes up the opposite way. So all I'm doing is just increasing the range, but just to a point where it feels good. And let's just do 2 more of these. Shoulders are soft. I always have to check that I'm not adding tension in the shoulders. And then bring your marble back to 12, and we're going to roll it from 3 to 9. So this one takes the obliques, internal and external oblique work. And sometimes it's harder to get in touch with those at first. So be patient, but just roll your marble to 3, which is your right hip point, and then roll your marble to 9, which is your left hip point. It's also like a feeling that you're massaging your sacrum a little, like side to side you might feel. Breathe in and breathe out. Don't worry about any knee or leg movement, but we're trying not to make it happen from the legs, but they're free, they're loose. It's coming from our low abdominals. Just side to side, belly work. And so the longer you go, you might start to kind of rock the opposite hip up just a little more. One thing that you might notice or feel is that the foot of that opposite side kind of presses down just a little to give you lift. Just want some movement here. There's not really rights and wrongs. And let's just do 2 more rounds. Breathe in on one side, breathe out on the other side. And then come back to center. So now we go in a circle, clockwise to start. So roll your marble to 12, 3, 6, 9. So just roll it around. You can start small, and then if it feels natural or like you want more, you can start to make it bigger. So like parts are coming off the mat more. But that's just an option. We're moving from our abdominals. The transversus is the deepest layer of belly muscle. I'm going to try to connect there. When you get up to 12, go the opposite, counterclockwise. So it's 9, 6, 3, 12. And just move from your strength in the belly, less glute here. Now we do use our glutes a lot to protect our back, but this is nice and safe so we can relax them. Go one more time around. And then rest in the center. So what we want to feel when we're just working on neutral spine stabilization is that the marble stays in the navel the whole time. So we've got our platform arms, and we're going to do knee folds. So knee folds are so basic and so simple, but so important and effective, and we need to keep doing these our whole lives. So breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to just fold the right knee, using core but stabilizing the spine. Just draw the knee up with core strength and lower it down. If it's too much to tap the floor, don't go all the way, but just pull and tap. Contract your belly, soften your chest. Feel your lower back getting some length. Do 3 more like this. Exhale and inhale. Nose or mouth, whichever feels more natural. Now on the next one, hold it and either take hold of your thigh or your shin, whichever feels better, and then just start to draw a nice gentle circle with your legs to loosen up this side of the low back. Let your breath flow. Try not to hold it. That doesn't do your back any favors. And then go the opposite direction. Just breathe. And then from here, just cross this right foot over the left leg. Give a gentle push with your right hand on the inside of your thigh. Your left hand can go on top of your left thigh. And so they're both kind of pressing. The right side, you're going to feel more of a hip opener. The left side, maybe some decompression in the vertebrae, low back on that left side. And then from here, release your arms and open them to the sides. We're going to flow a couple times before we stay. So keep your pigeon position, the figure 4, and just start to roll your knees over toward the left, and then use your belly to draw it back up. So just contract your belly for protection and draw it up. Keep your shoulders on the mat. Breathe in, feel your obliques and low belly, breathe out. Now this time, if it feels okay, go ahead and lower your foot all the way down. If that's too much and your shoulder comes off the floor, take one of your blocks and put it right underneath your foot so that you bring the floor up to you. And then you can keep your head still, looking up toward the ceiling, or turn your gaze over your right shoulder. And breathe. So when we're holding, it can be really warming and nice to breathe in and out through the nose only. And then just slowly come back. Platform the arms and uncross your leg. And just take a second. I'll just leave you a minute to not a whole minute, but a little bit of time to notice the difference in your sides. Maybe you've relaxed the right side a little more. Now we're going to do all that on the left side. So remember, keep the marble in your navel. Arms are by your sides. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, fold your left knee toward you with belly strength as close as you can. And then just tap your toe or lower your leg to a place that's comfortable. Don't feel like you have to touch the floor, especially if your back changes or you get any kind of pain or resistance from the back. Exhale and inhale. Take 3 more of these. And on the next one, hold it up. Take hold of your thigh or your shin, whichever feels better to the knee, and then begin to make some gentle, slow circles. So don't be in a rush. Keep breathing. So don't hold your breath. The back responds when we hold our breath. Like the back thinks, something's wrong, I better take over. Right now we're trying to ask our back to relax. And then go the opposite way. One more. From here, we'll cross the left leg into the pigeon position, and then the left hand can be inside the thigh here, just gently pressing the knee, and the right hand can be on top of the right thigh, just helping fund some decompression through the vertebrae. Breathe. So your own strength. You're doing your own adjustment, which is the best and safest way to adjust. Release your hands and open the arms wide into a T. Your palms can be up. And we're going to flow a few times to loosen up slowly. So breathe in and just let your legs fall to the right. Doesn't have to touch the floor. Breathe out. Pull it back up from core strength. Keep your shoulders on the mat. Breathe in. Breathe out. Engage. Even think of keeping your face soft. And on the next one, land your foot either on the floor or put a block underneath it if your shoulders come up. Gaze toward the ceiling or toward the left, whichever feels nicer. And just take a moment to breathe. On your exhale, contract the belly and bring it back up. Platform your arms and lower your left foot to meet your right. Take a moment here. Maybe close your eyes and feel how your back's doing so far. Of course, anytime something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Don't do it as big or don't do it at all. Then we're going to take both of our hands just right here. Like I try to kind of dig the heels of my hands right into that little pocket, that little ledge where my hip and thigh meet. And then we're going to push and release. We're finding that decompression on both sides. Press, release. Breathe in. Feel like you're making your lower back longer. Breathe out. And on the next one, just hold. Try not to put too much tension in your shoulders, but there's nothing wrong with strengthening our arms a little bit while we're loosening up our back. And then release. Open your arms again like a T. And open your feet apart toward the edges of your mat, maybe wider depending on if you've got really long legs. Keeping our shoulders on the mat real slow. Let both of your knees fall to the right. If it feels okay, look left. Bring them up. Feel your belly contract. And then dip your knees left and maybe look right. And coming up, feel the belly contract. When the belly contracts in transition, it's given the back the cue that you're being mindful, that you're being safe, that you're using strength in places the back needs you to. And up. The next time your knees are to the right, just hang out. And relax your feet, relax your legs. Try to feel a little pull of gravity. This is just if you need more. But if you do need a little more, you pick up your right foot, hook the outside of your left thigh, and the weight of your right leg gently draws your left knee closer to the mat. On this, I also want to feel the low back is long. I don't want to feel short at all. It's all about the decompression feeling that gives us back pain relief. Now just unhook, bring your knees to center, and slowly let them fall to the left. You might look right. Feel that length you're trying to grow here. And then this can be plenty, which is a lot. But if you do need more, left foot would hook the outside of your right leg. And just let the weight of your leg draw it down. You're not really using a whole lot of muscle or anything here. It's surrender. Unhook if you're hooked and come back to the center. Walk your feet hip distance apart and bring your arms back to platform and just do that little check-in again. Hopefully you're already feeling a little better. Now slowly bring one knee up and then the other from floor. Hold the thighs or shins or knees, whichever feels better. And we're going to take our knees apart and together in circles so they come toward you, away from each other, and back together. This one I feel like really hits into some places for me that give me a little pain and tightness. One more this direction and then reverse it. So you'll go apart, in, toward you, and then together. One more, and then hold the knees together. And you can even lace your fingers, like if your body allows you to do that, as you begin to draw the legs in a circle together. So knees stay together. It's a little different. It doesn't really do anything for the inner thighs, not as much for the hips. And all this is connected up with our low back. So it's just good to do these two variations and then go the other way. We're going to make our way up, so since your back might be talking to you, you can roll to your side first or tuck your chin and rock up. Just be safe and be mindful as you come up. And then we're going to sit and just place the feet on the floor. Again, you can hold the thighs or the shins or lace your fingers. And just take a moment here to sit nice and tall for the first time. We had gravity working for us now. We're just working on our strength to hold us up tall. And then we're just going to take some little windshield wipers from this position. So place your hands back behind you. Again, open your feet about the distance of your mat or wider if you've got really long legs. Think now of engaging your belly and keeping your heart open. And just nice and slow, dip the knees right. It's always an option to turn the head or to keep it still. Bring it up and then knees left and maybe look right. So we're just looking for gentle movement. Sit back. Let your back know that you're being mindful. You want it to relax. You want it to feel better. You and your back are a team working together. One more each way. And then come back to center. So walk your feet hips distance apart. Sit really tall on your sits bones. Extend your left leg, and if you can, maybe draw the right heel in a little bit more. Give it a little hug. You can flex your left foot, engage your left leg, and then just pick up your foot if that feels okay. Hold. It's the same little squeeze we do on the back, but it's a little different because we're asking our back muscles to engage instead of relax. And then lower your foot gently. You can take your left hand or arm and hold onto the right leg, and then place the right hand behind you. Grow and gently turn. So only take your head to the point where it feels good. You might want to keep your head like resting right in the center between your shoulders. That may be the safest for you. Another thing I like to do, because I don't have crazy long arms for the length of my torso, is I'll put my hand on a block. It's like making my arm longer, and it gives me more of a feeling of freedom to twist. And then come back to center. And that same little crossover into pigeon. So Cross your right leg over, your foot sticking on the other side of your left leg, and then you can bring your hands behind you and maybe draw your left foot closer. You could also walk your hips and hands in even closer to your heel if there's space for that. We're not trying to force this. This isn't a deep stretch class. This is just a back pain relief class. If you feel real hunchy, it probably means you're in too close. So you want to be able to be really tall. And if you did scooch forward, just scooch back gently. Extend your left leg. Bring your right one out into staff pose. Staff is a great strengthener for the back. It can seem subtle. It might not even seem subtle. But we need to sit in staff pretty often with our heart open, our crown lifted, and our sits bones rooted. Take a cleansing breath here. And then draw your left knee up and foot down. And again, you can hold on to your thigh or your shin, sitting nice and tall, engaging your straight leg. See if you can lift your foot up off the floor. If that's not feasible, then just hug it in close where it is. Slowly lower your foot back down. Take your right hand or arm around your right leg. And then again, you can put your left hand behind you, maybe on your block. Feel nice and tall and rotate. Just taking the head to the point that feels safe. So it might just feel better to keep your head resting right in between your shoulders, like your face shines right between where your shoulders shine. Or turn it a little farther. And then you can release back to center. Cross your left leg into your pigeons or your foot sticks off the other side. Take your hands back, and if there's room, draw the right foot in. If there's more room, scoot up. But remember, the back is long, the heart is open. You can relax and you can breathe without holding your breath. Slowly shift back if you went forward. Extend your legs both to staff again. Feeling active in staff. Take a cleansing breath. We're going to stay here and just do a little flow. So feel the sits bones equal. Sweep your arms up and breathe in. And then contract your belly. This is soft. Just lower yourself heavy. Let your hands fall to your legs or the mat. And then round up one vertebrae at a time from core strength. Inhale, lift up. And then through your prayer, belly toward your spine. Fold. Roll up, let your head come up last. Inhale, nose, and exhale, nose or mouth, whichever feels better for you. And up. 2 more times. On the next fold, just melt and stay. You can always put blocks under your hands to bring the floor to you, or even sometimes I like to rest my arms so my hands just get to hang and dangle. Heaviness, let's go ahead and even relax the feet. The legs might naturally kind of flop out. And breathe. When we're trying to loosen our back, we think of all the parts that are attached to the back, like the hamstrings, the glutes, the hip flexors, the shoulders, the neck, which is connected to our spine. And just slowly take your time to roll up. So we're going to make our way to table pose. Crossing at your ankles or feet to one side. Just float yourself over. And when my back doesn't feel super loose is when I really like to put blocks under my hands. Again, because my arms aren't real long. So I like to make my arms longer. Longer arms means more range of motion in the spine. So we're just going to count cat. Align wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. Arch your back by lifting your tailbone and your crown, but still pressing the shoulders away from your ears. And really slow, lift the navel toward the spine by contracting your belly first, and then round. Tailbone and crown point toward the floor, puff up between your shoulders, but again, ears away from shoulders. So let's do this real slow. Come into your cow back, which is like an old cow with a saggy back. Belly initiates into cat, like a scared cat puffing his back toward the ceiling. Breathe in and arch. Breathe out and down. Do this 2 more times at your own pace. And return to neutral. So, because I have blocks, you might not, I'm going to bring them forward a little. If you don't have blocks, just take your hands forward a little. So the wrists are no longer right underneath the shoulders. Breathe in, and then as you breathe out, we're going to take a flow. Just sink your hips toward your heels. Let your head fall just where it will. Don't force it to the mat. Breathe in and come back up. Breathe out and sink it down. Do this gentle flow 2 more times. And then on this next one, we're going to stay back. So don't worry about your head touching the mat. It doesn't have to. It might not. Find length in your spine from tailbone to crown. So like we said, you want to loosen everything around your back. So shoulders are a part of that. We don't want to be tense anywhere, but when we're really focused on a part, we have to look at all the parts that are close to it. Slowly come up. So if you do have blocks, you can slide them out of the way. Bring your knees a little wider and your big toes together, sinking back into child's pose. Then from here, we're going to walk it to the right. So just take your hands over to the right. You can put your left hand on top of your right. Rest your head between your arms. Heaviness in your hip. Get back through your center, and then over to your left. You can place your right hand on top, just if that feels good. If it's too much, you can keep the hands apart. And we'll get back to center. So come back to your table. And then you can keep your hands right under your shoulders. You could also walk your hands closer to your knees so you're not like straight like a table but more rounded, because we're going to do little knee folds. So contract like a cat, belly is hollow, puff between your shoulders, and we're just going to fold the right knee. So we're back to knee folding in a different position. So you're just going to fold the knee up, tap it toward the floor. Fold, it doesn't have to come super high. 2 more times. Exhale, inhale. Come back, you can kind of release to a longer spine. Breathe in, breathe out, round back. Now we do our left knee. So curl and tap. Curl and tap. 2 more times. Exhale, inhale. Lower down, come out, walk your hands forward so we're back into our traditional table. So we're gonna thread the needle, but we're not gonna lift the arm first. We're gonna go real gentle on this. Pick up your right hand and just slide it behind your left wrist, coming down to the right side of your head. And then left hand just pushes to roll. So what always happens to me is my hips shift to the left. So once I get there, I just bring them back over the knees. As much as you can, relax your right shoulder down into the mat. Load it back up and find your way to table. Let's do the other side gently. So just pick up your left hand, slide behind the right wrist, come down to the side of your head, and then just gently pressing the right hand down. If your hips went over to the right, move them back over your knees and just melt your left shoulder. And then float yourself back up. So you may want to have a block for the forehead here. We'll take a little embryo. So walk your knees and feet together. Scoop your belly in this transition. Your hands just rest by your feet. Head on block or floor. Meld the elbows and shoulders. So when I get here, I like to sway. But that might not feel great to your knees or ankles, so you listen to the body. But if it does feel good, maybe you just really gently sway from side to side. And then maybe just rest. Let go a little more. See if you feel anything opening and releasing. And then we'll float the hands underneath. Come on up and then lie down on your belly. So be real mindful. You can walk your knees back, your hands forward. Take your time to roll down. And just start with your hands stacked right under your forehead. And just see how much you can relax your hips into the mat. Relax your glutes, your low back, your quadriceps. Just a little bit of heaviness here. And then just feel welcome to stay like that. Or we'll move a little deeper by coming to Sphinx. So propping up, elbows under shoulders, wrist in front of elbows. But if that's too much, walk your elbows a little farther forward. So you want to listen to how much compression your back wants. To know you're kind of in a good, safe place, you should be able to relax your glutes here, right? If you're finding like my glutes are toning and I can't let them go, it's just a little, you're just not ready yet. You will be later, maybe not, but right now, be where you are. And then because, we talk about all the things that are connected, we're gonna just loosen the neck. Make sure you're pressing the shoulders away from the ears, and then just turn your head to the right. Lower your chin to the chest. Turn your head to the left. And lower your chin to your chest. Just nice little gentle neck rolls. You may even feel this all the way down your back. I do. I don't just feel this in my neck. I feel it all the way to my low back. The next time you're looking over the right, hang out there and you might just stay like that. You can always move your right hand and lift the elbow. So it doesn't have to stay where it is. It can move out, it can move up. You want a long neck, and see if you can relax your right hip into the mat more, relax your glutes more. Softly lower. And then looking to the center, just kind of draw your elbows toward your hips in a feeling of traction. And then let it go. Turn your head to the left. Push into the left hand and lift the elbow if that's good for you. If not, just keep looking or move your hands somewhere different. Just breathe. Hear the sound of your breath. Softly lower back down. Once again, just draw the elbows toward the hips in a feeling of traction and let it go. Then lower yourself down and press your hands under you. Come back to table. Walk your knees together in your feet. And we're just going to take a little side to side motion with the hips. Just see how you're doing here. It's like a windshield wiper. This time it's the hips that are moving. Try to lift your belly in and up a little. Nice, safe way to move the back. One more on each side. Come back to center, open your knees. You can tuck the toes, lift your knees, chest towards your thighs, and lengthen the legs in down dog. Feel free to pedal or do anything that you feel like you need to. You know, we haven't really done a lot to open up the legs, so they may be on the tighter side. You might want to pedal and twist. So I like to do this from a back, especially like instead of just straight pedal, add a little rotation. And then come back to center, scoop your belly and walk your hands back to the feet. Bend your knees and just hang for a second and wrap your arms behind your legs. So bend the knees as much as you need to. Shoulders are away from the ears, or you may even want to think more ears hanging away from the shoulders. Since we're upside down, just give yourself a nice little hug. Relax your hands. Maybe you feel even heavier. You can take ragdoll or put your hands on the floor, whichever feels better. I can really start to feel the release, the opening, the decompression. And then releasing your hands, because we're thinking of a safe back. Use your core, but also walk your hands up your thighs to come up into mountain pose. You can take the palms forward, really root your feet. Think tailbone toward the floor, crown toward the ceiling. Strong back, just like staff pose. Take a cleansing breath. Then let's rock our feet just a little wider than hip distance. We're not in a super wide position, but we're a little bit wider. And then bend your knees, just like let yourself kind of get heavy and relaxed, but you're still contracted here and you're still lengthening. You may want to close your eyes eventually, but we're just going to really gently sway from side to side. So the arms are loosey-goosey like noodles. And you're just feeling very, very relaxed. Moving from the waist. We're very stable in the feet. All four corners of the feet pressing down. Arches lifting up. Breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Out through nose or mouth. As you go, it may even feel like the range starts to increase. The arms might get higher or more powerful. If you get dizzy, just stop. Take maybe like 10 more of these. Also lift your pelvic floor here. So doing a Kegel. Two more rounds. And then slowing down to come back to center. When you're ready, flutter your eyes and you can lengthen your legs, but we're not locking out the knees at all. Place your hands on your low back backs of your fingers might point down or up. That's just a wrist thing, so that just depends on you. Really gently press your hips forward and open up the front line of your body to lift your heart, and then pull up through your pelvic floor and belly to come back. That's all we're doing. Just a gentle press, a little compression. Lift the pelvic floor first and come up. Do that 2 more times, just this much. It's not very big. Listen to the body. If it tells you no, you say okay. Now we're going to increase the range, going from a little back bend to a flat back. So again, just a gentle back bend, and then with all that length, send your sits bones back and just think of a lengthened flat back. Pull up with a little back strength, press it, pull up through the pelvic floor and belly, send the hips back and lengthen. And just do this 2 more times. Back to the center. We're going to do bigger range of motion, but add bend in the knees. So we gently lift. As you're coming up, lift through the pelvic floor, bend your knees, let your hands just fall into a nice heavy fold. Scoop and hollow, roll it up, move and slow. Hands on your back, gentle press. As you come up, start bending your knees. Send the sits bones and hips behind you and mount your hands and head. Scoot around. 2 more of these. Breathe in. Pull up strong. Breathe out. Last one. Very mindful movement. Roll it up really round on your way and come up to the top. So let's walk the feet back just under hips so they're not wider, they're just hip distance. I'm going to face you. So take your right hand and put it on your hip. Take your left hand high into the air like you're reaching for that apple. And then as you gently press into your hip, just bend to the side. You can either look down toward the floor with your face or just let your ear fall. Open through your side body. Gently bring it back. And then take the left hand onto your hip. Reach your right hand high like you're grabbing an apple from a tree and gently push into the hip to bend the other way. Head either direction, whichever way your neck prefers. And then lift it back up. So I'm going to turn back around. Find your 2 blocks. So hopefully they weren't too far away. But find your blocks. Take your feet, again, a little bit wider than hip distance. Bend your knees, scoop your belly, and just put the blocks out in front of you so that your back is lengthened. And then if there's room, stretch your legs all the way. But if not, it's totally cool. It might even feel better to keep them bent. And we're just going to take a little flow. So first we'll lift the right hand onto the back and then lift the right shoulder and twist. And then lower the right. Then take your left hand onto your low back, lift the shoulder and twist. And back. So you can keep putting your hand on your back, or you can lift it to open up through the shoulders a little bit more, especially if that's a place you're tight. But you want this practice to feel good today. This practice isn't so much about like reawakening things or, finding edges. This practice is about just being gentle and healing and loving to a space in the body that can really take on a lot of our life stress. The low back especially can be a very emotional spot in the body. And just take 1 more to the left. and then we'll come back. So you can stretch the legs or keep them bent. You can bring the blocks closer to you or touch the floor, whatever feels good. We're just hanging out. And with our feet still a little wider than hip distance, you can take your blocks with you over to the right. So don't twist your hips. Your hips are still facing straight over to the front, just the same way your knees and toes are. But just find a little rotation. And then you can walk yourself through your center, over to the left, bend the knees as much as you need to, or lift the blocks as high as you need to. Back through your center. Again, bend the knees, take your hands and walk them up your thighs. Roll yourself up. You can walk your feet back to hips distance apart. Find a nice strong mountain and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Open your mouth, let it go. Flutter your eyes, sweep your arms, breathe in, bend your knees, scoop your belly, walk your hands down your thighs, and then gently walk your hands forward. Softly come back to the knees. Cross at your ankles or feet to one side. We'll have a seat and just sit in your easy pose, Sukhasana. You can bring the right leg in front first. Maybe blocks are handy. Place your hands on your knees and we'll cow and cat, which this is one of my favorite positions to cow and cat from. So you just gently pull into the knees to lift the heart and then contract the belly and draw it back into cat. So let's move slowly. Breathe in, breathe out. Take your time to feel nice and full. Do one more of these. Bringing it back to center. Take your left hand onto your right knee. Again, you might want the block under the right hand. We're not going to hold very long. Just lengthen and twist. You can keep your head in between your shoulders, or if it feels okay, you can turn it a little farther. And then we'll come back to the center. Take your left hand onto the mat, maybe on the fingertips. Right hand reaches for the apple again without lifting the sit bone or hip. Just take a nice gentle bend to the left. Heart shines forward. And float it up. And then we'll take a nice gentle fold. So we're not looking for deep stretch. You may want to stack your blocks so that you can really relax the neck and the shoulders and the chest and the hips. Take your time to slowly come up. And then change the cross of your legs. So bring your left one in the front. Hands on your knees. Again, let's just slowly cow and cat. Breathe in, open the heart. Breathe out, contract the belly. See how full and complete in the motion you can get while moving with lots of mindfulness, lots of control. next cat. Come back up to a tall back. And then again, you can put a block behind you for your left hand, right hand onto the knee, the left knee. Grow tall. Take your turn. Bring the head just in line with the spine, or turn it if that's okay. Slowly release. Walk your right fingertips to the floor. Left hand reaches for the apple. Bend without lifting the sits bone or shadowing your face. Float yourself up, and then you can bring your blocks in front so that you can really melt gently. We're not looking for a deep pose. And then just let everything go. Feel this all the way from the base of the skull to the tip of the tailbone. Time to roll it up. And now we're going to make our way back to the back and have one block handy with you. So again, you can hold onto your thighs, use your belly, roll it down slowly. Bring your heels in, take one block, lift your hips and place it right under the sacrum in a sweet spot. If the block is too high, you could just like take a little pillow or a little folded blanket if you don't want so much, depending on how your back feels. We're going to take a little inversion, so contract the belly, platform arms, lift one leg and the other, and make sure you're on a sweet spot. Sometimes when I get here, I have to kind of wiggle because I don't want to have to grip with my hip flexors. First, we're just thinking like floating toward the ceiling. If it feels good, sway or move. Sometimes it's nice to let the body direct you. And then if you feel like there's a little room for more, you can let the legs just fall closer to your torso. And you can bend your knees. Just let your thighs fall in toward you. Slowly core strength. Lower one foot and the other. So you can stay just like this, or take the right leg first, out long. Maybe even float your palms up, no more platform. You might want to let your left knee kind of fall out to the side. Again, if that's too much, just keep your foot planted. Foot plants or engages for the right foot's plant. So either stay just like this or take your left leg and extend it. Try to relax and surrender. You can stay like this or let the right knee fall out to the side. Plant the right knee, use your core or right foot and plant your left foot. Then just push into your feet, lift the hips, slide the block out, peel yourself to the floor. So to finish with a little relaxation, you're welcome to do Shavasana. You could put the blocks under your knees, or I'm going to take constructive rest pose, which feels so good to my back. So you take the feet wide and just let your knees fall into the center. You can let the arms just flop down, or you can let them cross, which to me feels nice to the back too. Either arm on top doesn't matter. Close your eyes. Notice any sensations you're getting, especially in your back. Working on this communication with our bodies, not forcing it to do things it doesn't want to do. It's the way we heal. Wherever you are, you want to come out of this mindfully, very slowly, and roll on to either side. Pause for a moment in a fetal position. When you're ready, come up to seated. You can sit in Sukhasana once more. Maybe rest the backs of your hands on your knees. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth and take a long breath out. Place one hand on your heart and then one hand on your back. So just somewhere on your back it would feel like nice and supported, good. And then see if you can make that connection between your heart wanting to love and care for your back. You can bring your hands to heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.